Hi, I'm Jackie Waltz with NetHawk.tv. I'm here at the RSA conference today speaking with Evan Quinn, Symantec O3 Product Marketing, about the new release. So Evan, can you tell us what you've got today?
Sure. We're very excited. Yesterday, we went GA with Symantec O3. We like to call it a new security control point for the cloud. So the idea is you have a lot of people out there using cloud apps inside of companies. Everybody's sort of Salesforce.com, Workday, we could name Dropbox, Box.net, we could name lots of them, and they've become very popular. Now, the problem is, how do you secure that inside the enterprise, right? So that's really what we're trying to do, is find a way to create information protection for the cloud. Now, one of the interesting things about it is, when you consume cloud apps, where do you do it? Well, you could do it on a laptop, sure, done a lot on mobile devices, increasingly on mobile devices. So, that's what Symantec O3 is about. We like to call it an information protection platform, and I can explain and maybe in a little bit do a little whiteboarding and show you what we mean by that. But the first release, which came out yesterday, is what we call Cloud Identity and Access Control. And what it does is provides what we call control, convenience, and compliance. Gives IT and security group a new control point for the cloud.
Okay.
Convenience, it provides single sign-on for cloud applications for a company's users, or it could be for a company's customers. Doesn't just have to be employees, it can be B2E, or it could be for consumers or customers as well. So that's the control, that's the convenience. On the compliance side, right now, if you have all these cloud apps out there, how do you monitor access and usage? If you're IT, if you're security, well, you don't. Maybe you get a lot of logs from individual apps if they have them. What this does is now centralizes access to these apps, and now you can start to get a stream of access and security events that can be used for audits and forensics and things like that.
So why don't you show me what you mean?
Okay, sure. We're going to draw a big box here, and we'll call it Symantec O3. And we'll put the trademark on it, how's that? There's two primary components to Symantec O3. One we call the Symantec O3 Intelligence Center. The other one is the Symantec O3 Gateway. What happens is your admin right here, I don't know if, we'll make sure this admin is sort of unisexual, puts policies and stores policies about access, about security, what you can do with these cloud apps in the Intelligence Center. At runtime, this gets pushed out to the gateway, so now all this stuff is sitting in the gateway. Here's a user, and a user wants to get to all these apps, Salesforce.com, Workday, Box.net, and what IT wants is to get them to get access through this gateway. So they're given a URL, and notice I said a URL, so there's no agent on any client devices. They just go to this gateway through a URL. It looks up who you are, what your role is, what device you're on, what your network you're on, and based on all that and the policies that I put in, gives you access to the apps you're allowed to have access to. So now I've got access. However, one of the cool things is this person only has to put the credentials in once. So under normal circumstances, you have to put a user ID and password here, user ID and password here, not this way. In this situation, we actually integrate with your existing identity store. The identity store could be typically Active Directory or LDAP or another form of LDAP or a relational database. And we actually use those basic credentials. We don't ask you to change anything in terms of basic credentials. So this user just puts in their credentials they normally use. And we federate all this so they get single sign-on. put my credentials in once, now I have access to everything. Now, here's where things really start getting interesting. What we called layered protection or layered security. So what we can do is, let's say we set a policy that in order to access Workday, this user has to put in a second factor, has to put in a one-time password in additional. Well, we have two-factor authentication layered in. And this is what exists today. In addition, with all this tracking going on at the gateway of what the user's doing, we now can take that information and we can use it for compliance purposes. That says audit, I know it's hard to read. So that takes care of what we're offering today. So control point for IT, convenience for the user, and compliance for auditing and forensics.
That's today. What's next?
Well, if we were to look at that picture again, the key is this layered security concept. So today we're layering in as an option based on the policies that you put in, two-factor authentication. Our next release, we're going to add encryption, and we're going to add DLP, data loss prevention, and there's nothing over the long run from keeping us from adding additional types of layered protection. Could be, e-discovery or archiving and other types of security capabilities. So that's what the future is. That's why we call it a platform. It's not a product, it's a platform. And the first thing we're rolling out is a solution for cloud identity and access control, but ongoing releases will augment that with additional layered protection.
Well, thank you, Evan. This is Jackie Waltz for NetHawk.tv.